but are told they need to cross the desert in front of them to get to a village 5 hours away, where they can be picked up. They set out on foot, weathering sandstorms and scorching heat. Tommy entertains Mike with the stories of his son back home. Seeing Mike silent and seemingly troubled by something, Tommy forces Mike to open up. Mike reveals that he is having a hard time proposing marriage to his girlfriend, Jenny. Tommy makes fun of him for being so scared, but also gives him advice that initially marriages can be difficult, but over time, you get the hang of it. While passing through the desert, wind brings a warning sign flying right beneath their feet. Mike takes the sign seriously, recalling that 33 million landmines have been buried in the desert in the last 40 years. Tommy assures him it's just a Berber trick to keep enemies away. Mike is still proceeding cautiously, his mind preoccupied with the warning sign. Tommy walks backwards, carefree, a few yards in front of Mike, taking lighthearted digs at Mike for being an overthinker. Suddenly a click sound is heard, and an explosion follows. Tommy had stepped on a landmine. As he goes temporarily deaf, Mike takes a step towards Tommy and hears another click where his foot has just landed. He freezes in shock. The sand from the blast starts to clear out. Tommy has survived the explosion, but his legs below the knees have been amputated. Tommy screams and quivers in pain. Mike, unable to move himself, struggles to calm Tommy down. When nothing seems to work, Mike brings up Tommy's son, which gives him some motivation, and he's able to inject himself with the morphine that Marines carry in their front pocket. Tommy then tries to reach his radio, but the pain again takes over him. Seeing his partner in pain, Mike offers to take his foot off the landmine in order to help Tommy. Mike speculates that perhaps the landmine he stepped on is old and defunct. Tommy warns him not to, and in order to dissuade Mike, he pulls out his gun and aims it at his head. He tells Mike that he must survive no matter what, and shoots himself. Mike helplessly screams in grief. He is stuck in the desert all by himself, unable to move. He soon gets tired of standing and gets on one knee. Mike realizes he must somehow fetch the radio lying next to Tommy several yards away. He ties his shoelace to an axe to pull the radio bag towards himself. However, he learns that the radio's battery is dead and the spare is on Tommy's body. Mike is dejected, but thinks of another plan. He makes a makeshift arrangement to charge the radio using solar power. Mike is then able to contact his superiors. He requests immediate evacuation, but he is told that rescue choppers can't fly to his location because of frequent sandstorms. If it all goes well, a convoy will rescue him in about 52 hours. Mike gets frustrated by the response. The major then suggests Mike try digging a ditch and jumping in it, which would only result in a non-life-threatening limb loss. Mike decides to tough it out and wait for rescue, setting a countdown on his watch. Then, another massive sandstorm hits full force. He manages to wait it out without moving from his spot. Once it's over, the first thing he realizes is that the storm has brought Tommy's body, and therefore the spare battery, right next to him. Yet the radio has drifted too far from his reach. Hours pass by. Mike runs out of water and gets increasingly desperate, and at times wonders about shooting himself dead. He then notices a Berber coming towards him, walking in a zigzag. Mike tries to warn him about the landmine, but the Berber imitates his actions, seemingly making fun of him. Mike tries to explain his ordeal to the Berber man, but he insists that Mike must take the next step. He then takes